Hey, what's going on now? This is Fred, and in this video, what we're going to talk about is why your bad credit is keeping you poor. So before we get started, like always, if you haven't done so already, just wanted to ask if you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, right? Hit that bell notification so that way whenever we drop a new video, you'll be notified and be able to catch that information live as it comes out. Hit the like button so you can go ahead and like this video. If you find this information helpful, share it, and just leave a comment for us. We just kind of want to see what's going on in the eyes of our viewers, exactly what they want to hear, what they want to talk about. If they have anything on their mind, we can try to bring a video to help please them and get that information out to them. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, why is your bad credit keeping you poor? Okay, this is something that I've dealt with in the past because I was in a situation where credit wasn't the best, and now I'm in a completely different space in my life. And what I wanted to tell you, I want to tell you a story, right? The whole reason and purpose of how I got into credit in the first place was based on bad credit, right? So I went to the dealership because I went through a divorce, right? Went through a divorce and life was turned upside down. So when I went to the dealership to apply to get a car, the dealership said, you have to have somebody buy the car for you. And I was like, you mean like get a co-signer? And they said, no, you cannot be on the loan because if you're on the loan, you're not going to qualify. So that's how bad my credit was at the time. I really didn't know what that meant. I was young. I was, barely 20 something years old. And, I really didn't know what was going on, So my sister, she's actually the one who put the car in her name for me. So I want to thank her, publicly for putting her life on the line and co-signing for me. It's not something that I recommend anybody do is co-signing. The banks know what's going on, right? They're well aware of if a person is going to make payments or not. And if they're asking for a co-signer, that co-signer more than likely is going to be on the hook, right? The only reason why I was in my situation is because I had made some bad decisions financially prior to going through my divorce, and it just stuck with me. I really didn't know what credit was. I was a young 20-something kid, really didn't know what was going on. I had two kids at the time. Yeah, I had two kids at that time, right? So, I'm working, not really knowing what's going on, just trying to make ends meet. And, you know, so my sister buys me the car, right? I don't know what's going on. And a few months later, after getting the car, she gave me a packet, 47 pages long. I remember it till today. And I still have that packet, actually. I found it not too long ago. So I keep it as a keepsake for what actually got me into the credit repair business, right? But, you know, saying all that to say um, credit is something that's very important, right? Banks make their money off of you, right? If you bring in $1 to a bank and deposit it into the bank, they could then loan out $10 off of your $1. Okay, so imagine having bad credit. You go try to buy a car. In my case, I bought a brand new car. Um, my sister bought the car for me, right? I didn't really know what was going on, so I started studying credit and kind of how it worked, right? And after reading this packet, I started going through and just following the things in the packet. Now, this was back in 2000, right? So that's 22 years ago now. But that's when I got into the credit repair industry, right? Not really knowing what I had going on, but I started doing this for myself. I didn't know what was going to come of it, how it would work, what it would do. I didn't really know anything, right? So I'm going through the process. I'm sending my letters out. The letters worked a whole lot better 22 years ago, I'll tell you that. Because nowadays, the whole algorithm and technology and AIs and all this stuff has come into play and has really put a damper on what we try to do as far as trying to help our clients improve their credit, get the negative information that is unverifiable off of their credit, the negative information that is inaccurate off of their credit, the incomplete information, we try to get those accounts removed. But it's just a whole different ballgame than what it was 22 years ago. But as I'm going through the process of trying to send these letters out, trying to get these things removed from my credit report, things start falling off. I start getting notifications in the mail from the credit bureaus stating that the account's been deleted. The account's been being deleted. I don't know if back then they had credit scores that we were able to get as a consumer. I'm not sure if they were out back then because I'm still new to it. I'm only doing it for myself. Then I started doing it for family and friends, and it was working for them as well. And I was like, wow, so this is cool, right? Fast forward a couple years, when my sister got the car for me, it was a lease. It was a 3-year lease, 36 months, and it was time for me to bring the car back, right? So I was like, okay, cool. So I bring the car back, and I buy me a new car. But this time I qualified for the car, folks. I got the car myself. I didn't have to get a cosigner, and I got a good rate. And I say all of that just to say that just because you're in one spot today doesn't mean that you can't improve your situation for tomorrow. But you got to start somewhere. Most people, they don't start. They come up with excuses of why they don't start. And the whole reason why you want to start is because you want to better yourself. You want to better yourself for your family and yourself, right? The money that you're giving away to these banks is astronomical, right? If you have, say you go to buy a car and you're able to qualify for the best rates. But let's say you have bad credit and you go to buy the same, well, you can't even get the same car. More likely, you're going to have to put a huge down payment. You're probably going to go to a mom and pop shop. They're probably going to, more than likely, they're going to give you over a 20% interest rate. So these types of things, when you're trying to buy a car with bad credit, is going to kill you, right? Right now, we're coming into tax season, and a lot of my clients, a lot of people that I know, they want to go buy a car right when they get their tax money. They're excited. They get their tax money. Now they got their down payment for their new car. But right now, where we are, everything is more expensive. Everything. The chip shortage has screwed up the whole car buying experience. When you used to be able to go pay less than MSRP, the manufacturer retail suggested price, when you're able to pay less than that amount just last year compared to what it is now, I mean, a lot of people are buying cars or have a used car and they go sell it to the dealership for $5,000, $10,000 more than they paid for the car a year or two ago. I was speaking to a buddy last night, and they gave him $5,000 more than he paid for his vehicle, which he had a car for like 17 months, so just over a year he had the car, and they gave him $5,000. So it was like he got paid to drive this car, which was used when he bought it, and he got paid more for that, and then he went and bought private party and was able to get a good deal. So you just want to keep an eye out of what's going on in the world. But the focus on this video, again, is just to help you guys understand that by having bad credit, it's keeping you poor and it's making the banks rich, right? Because if I go to buy a car and let's say we're going to have to put a down payment. So I want to give you a real live example. So let's say I want to go buy a 2018 car. It's 4 years old now. So I'm going to go buy a 2018 car. Let's say that car is $20,000. They're probably going to ask for $5,000, $6,000 down, probably like 25% at least. Okay, so let's say 25% I have to put down, anywhere between 20 and 25%, so that's $4,000 to $5,000 as a down payment, right? So that's my down payment. Now my interest rate is going to be probably over 20%. So that monthly payment is probably going to be somewhere in the $600 range. Okay, and I'm just throwing numbers off the top of my head. I don't actually know what it is. But let's say we want to go buy a brand new car and we got good credit. And let's say that car is $25,000. And let's say we put that same $4,000 or $5,000 down. But now instead of having a $600 and something payment, now we're dealing with maybe a $500 payment or less. But now you're talking about a 4-year-old car, used, probably around 60, 70, 80,000 miles, versus a brand new car where you're the first person in it. You know how that car is going to be taken care of because it's going to be yours. So there's a difference in savings, let's say $150, $200 a month. Now, what can you do with $200 a month? Let's say that you're 19 years old, right? And you find yourself in a situation. And a lot of times people think, hey, I'm only 19. I don't know about credit. I don't know how it works. But when my youngest son turned 18, his credit score was in the 700s. As a brand new kid graduating from high school, he had a 700 plus credit score at the age of 18. Okay. And that's because I added him as an authorized user on several of my credit cards, right? So I set him up to put him in a position to help him qualify for, one, better rates, two, better position in trying to get jobs, because nowadays when you're applying for work, they ask you, they want to see what your history is like. They want to see how responsible you are, and they want to pull your credit, right? So let's say he has the same exact qualifications as the next person, but his credit is so much better. He has a 700 credit score versus the second person, maybe they have a 500 credit score. Well, he's obviously showing that he's more responsible, even though he just turned 18, right? So, he turned 18 several years ago, but I'm just trying to make a point, right? And I'm making a point through the stories that I've gone through personally in my life that I'm able to speak on. Because I can speak on what I've gone through. I can speak on how it's worked, why it's worked, and how I can improve on what it is that I've been doing. So by doing this for him, I was able to help him save money. He went and bought a car, and he was able to qualify for better rates. Okay, so it can happen. A lot of times people say that it's expensive to work or fix their credit. And I ask them, expensive compared to what, right? Because if you go buy a car and you're paying that extra $200 that we talked about, you pay that extra $200 a month. Now, and you break that over 72 months, that's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money, right? It's over $14,000 in savings. So when you say it's expensive, I'm going to come back all the time. Every single time. I'm expensive to what? Expensive to the $200 that you're wasting paying the bank every single month for 72 months. More than likely that car is going to get repossessed. Then you're going to get sued. Then they're going to tack on attorney fees. Then they're going to tack on additional interest. So when I ask compared to what, it's not to make you feel bad, but it's actually to put things into perspective of exactly what's going on, what's happening, right? So I'm going to tell you like it is. Sometimes people don't like to hear it, but I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to tell you what you want to hear, but I want to tell you what you need to know. Because the more upfront and direct I am with you, the more that I've gained respect among my peers, respect among my clients. Like, yes, it's kind of like going to boot camp, right? If you're in the military. I've never been to the military, but from what I've heard, people, they go to boot camp and they hate their drill instructors. They hate them, because they're putting them through so much, but it's for a reason. It's to help teach them, right? It's to help guide them. And by the time everything is done, they've built up so much respect for that person. And that's the same thing I'm trying to do with you here. I'm trying to give it to you like you need to hear it, not sugarcoat it, not lie to you, but just let you know exactly what time it is. Because if you are working on trying to better yourself, you have to make some type of adjustments. Whether you're a professional athlete, they make adjustments. If they see, case in point, we're going into the Super Bowl now, right? The two teams are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Do you think they don't watch film and make adjustments to what they see the other team is doing? Of course they do. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same exact thing that you're going to have to do as far as trying to improve what you got going on. Now, we talked about one car payment. Let's say you're married and you guys both got a car payment. Now we're talking $400 a month, right? So $400 a month, we're pushing 28,000, getting close to $30,000, right? So I want to put you guys in a position to really think about what it is that you're working towards, right? And my goal for you is not to have you working towards, what is expensive, but I want you to learn how to know what is right for you and your family, right? We're going to focus on your finances, not the bank's finances, right? Because if you're able to get that money and invest that money properly, there's so much more you can do. Like I was saying, if you're 19 years old and you take that $200 and you put it away every single month for 8 years and never touch it again, and you get a 12% annual rate of return, that money is going to be pushing over $1 million by the time you retire, right? $1 million. Now, I'm not no type of financial person who is in the realms of doing the investing part of things, but on average, if you got 10%, 10 to 12% rate of return, you're going to be pushing over $1 million, and that's only putting $200 a month. You don't even have to put $200. You put $2,000 a month away for 8 years. 8 years, that's $16,000. And just let it compound, let that interest compound over time. By the time you retire in your 60s, that little nest egg that you sacrificed for is going to be worth over $1 million, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do with the money. When you say it's expensive to fix my credit, expensive to what? Expensive compared to what, right? We want to make you rich, not the banks, because the banks are going to get their money, right? They're going to loan money. When you go make your deposit, when you do your direct deposit from your job, they're going to go take that money. They're going to loan it to somebody with horrible credit. They're going to charge them a ton of interest. They're going to make money hands over fist, right? And my goal is to help teach you that you need to just start thinking things a little bit differently, right? Thinking the long run, the long game. You don't want to keep continually doing what you've been taught. If your parents are in the same situation, you see things, things aren't the way things could be. Do you want to take advice from them, or do you want to take advice from somebody who's living that life, right? Do you want to live the life of a loser or a winner, right? And I'm not talking down on people who have bad credit, who don't understand credit, because this stuff wasn't taught in schools, so we don't really know. But I'm here to help educate you. I'm here to help you make the right decisions. But it all starts with making the decision to move forward. You have to make that decision. You have to decide, right? If you decide to do what you want to do and financially get into a place where you can start thinking, how am I going to turn things around? You got to make changes, right? Because if you don't change, things won't change. And say it again, if you don't change, things won't change. So you have to make some type of change to make these things work. I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. You'll be able to do so much more. If you have good credit, you can leverage your credit. And there's so many things that I could talk about when I talk about leveraging your credit, right? A lot of things that a lot of my friends are doing right now. They're in the dog game, right? Dog breeding. Frenchies are the thing that's really talked about right now. A lot of people getting their Frenchies taken, stolen. But there's so much that you can do to leverage your credit. You know what I'm saying? You can get some high limit credit cards once you're in a position where your credit is right. You get high limit credit cards. Go buy a couple of dogs, a male and a female. Start breeding them, right? But now you have a lineage. Now you take your two dogs. Let's say they were 50,000 a piece. You know, I'm throwing numbers out. I don't know what the exact prices are. I know they could be a lot more than that. I know they could be cheaper than that. Let me reverse a little bit. I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. Okay, just yesterday. Let's say you got a Frenchie for $10,000, a male, right? Let's say he had good DNA, got all the paperwork. Now you can start studying that dog out and selling the sperm, right? As long as you have that good DNA for the dog, you might be able to get $5,000, $10,000 for the sperm. And you're able to do this, let's say you did it every 3 days. Let's say you did it for a few months out of the year. Let's say you did 6 months every 3 days. Let's just say for argument's sake, let's say you did it 50 times a year. 50 times a year times $5,000 a piece. How much does that equal? Do the math. You got to make smart decisions. If you didn't do the math, it's over that's $250,000. 50,000 times 5. Excuse me. 50 times $5,000. You have to start doing things to help you in what you want to do. Now I know everybody can't be a dog breeder, but there's other avenues out there. There's things out there that you can do to help put your family in a better position. Don't let your job be your only source of income. They say the average income of a millionaire, average millionaire has seven income streams. Don't let your job be the only one for you. Work for your family. Do what you got to do. Make sacrifices now for them. All right. If you didn't know, we have a referral program. If you want to learn more about the referral program, reach out to me. I'm happy to tell you about it. You know, because what we do for our clients, we go above and beyond. We do everything we can. We talk with them. We go ahead and give them advice as if it was our own family. You know, because once you come with us and you join our program, you are our family, and we're going to treat you as such. You know what I mean? So I wanted to just bring this video. I know I kind of rambled on for a minute, but my ultimate goal is to help you guys become wealthy. You know, and you're never going to become wealthy if you don't do the work. You have to do some work. You can't just sit back and just say, hey, I'm just going to let life happen, do what it, no. You got to get in the trenches and do the work, right? Because I promise you, if you do that work, you'll be able to do things that you never thought you'd be able to do, right? Let me tell you a quick story, and I'm going to wrap up with this story. A couple years ago, actually 4 years ago now, right? People were like, why don't you do this to go ahead and add some extra income to what you already got going on? And I was like, all right, what do you mean? So you ever heard of a company called Turo? And I had actually already heard of it, right? My cousins were talking about it. And I was doing some research on Turo, and I found somebody on YouTube, and they used to talk about it all the time. And come to find out, the person I was watching was their friend, and I had actually worked on their credit, and they got into the game, right? And they had a bunch of cars on the Turo platform. And what Turo is, for those of you that don't know, it's a peer-to-peer car rental business, right? So instead of going to Hertz or Avis or Dollar or something like that, you can go on the Turo platform and you can rent a car from there. So what I did is I bought 2 cars because I wanted to test the theory before I sent out my clients to have them try doing something different to help generate more income, right? Because this is, basically all you got to do is wash the car, hand it off. That's it. They do their thing. They come back, bring the car, you wash it, rent it, give it to the next renter. So I had a brand new 2018 Jeep Cherokee 4x4, and I had a brand new Chevy Corvette 2018. And I put both of the vehicles on the platform for 2 years. For 2 years. And what happened was I was able to drive both of these cars at leisure, right? And I never came out of pocket for anything of it. Actually, I bought tires for the Corvette, but that was it. I paid $1,000 to drive two cars for 2 years. Corvette was $80,000. The other car, the Jeep, was $30,000. So I had over $100,000 leveraged. I put a $4,000 down payment on the Corvette, nothing down on the Jeep. And after everything was all said and done, the only out-of-pocket money that I spent was $1,000. But I was able to drive the cars for free. The renters paid for everything else. Okay. When everything was all said and done, as far as profits over the year, I averaged about $13,000 in profit per year on both of the vehicles. Okay. So in a 2-year time span, I made $26,000. I put out $5,000. So my ultimate profits altogether, all in, $21,000, 2 years. So just want to leave you with that. Let you know to start thinking outside the box. Let you know that there are other avenues that you can help generate additional income, right? But it starts with you making the switch, making the change to think like the banks think, right? We want to make you rich. We don't want to make the bank rich no more because they've been getting our money all these years. I'm tired of it. I know you're tired of it. I know you're tired of getting denied credit cards. I know you're tired of getting these astronomical high interest rates. You know, it's got to stop. But it's not going to stop until you stop thinking of the old way, you know, just happy that you were able to get approved. Nah, can't do that no more. Can't. I want to make sure that you get qualified. Qualified is a key word that I want to talk about. Qualified. I need you to qualify. We need to get your credit to a quality standpoint that when you go apply, they say whatever you want is yours. You know, as long as you can afford the payments, go ahead and take it. And that's what we're working towards. Getting you into a position to qualify for the best rates, to qualify to stop saying credit repair is expensive and start saying, I want to take back the money that I've been giving these banks all these years, because that's what it comes down to. So again, with that said, thanks for watching the video. If you stayed this long, hopefully I gave you some good information. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up, hit that bell notification, so that way whenever we drop a new video, you'll be notified. And leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the video. If you didn't like it, tell me in the comments below. If you did like it, tell me what you liked about it. You know, if you have suggestions, definitely want to hear the suggestions. So again, my name is Fred, and it's good talking to you guys, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a good day.